Welcome to Bear Archery's Hunting 101 podcast, where hunters new and old come to learn and find inspiration from stories of hunts gone by. Everyone is welcome to enjoy the outdoor way of life, and there is no better time to start than right now. So let's head into the great outdoors with your host, Dylan Ray.
Welcome to Bear Archery's Hunting 101 podcast, as always, presented by our good friends over at ScentLok. You guys got to go check it out. ScentLok is doing some blowout sales on some of their BE1 series, which you never get a sale on. So go check out ScentLok. I just got one of their new packs in, and I'm incredibly pleased with it. I'll be doing a full video on that pretty soon on the features of it. But, guys, you got to go check out ScentLok because they are, with their BE1 series, it is a full toolkit for bow hunters to get you from early season to late season. And now they're adding more things like the packs, the belts, and all of these types of things to really become a toolkit for bow hunters. So go check out our friends over at ScentLok. I've got a friend of mine, met him at ATA this year. I've got Aj Kazmierczak. Did I say that right?
Perfect, man.
I would have just approached you as, or introduced you as the Coffee Viking. That's what I would have said.
So that kind of took on its own persona on Instagram in that regard. But it's funny because, you know, I've got friends in different sectors. I play baseball, I snowboard, you know, different things like that. And to this day, I think a lot of my friends from baseball don't know my first name because it was always just Kaz. No one ever says Kazmierczak. It was just K-A-Z and leave it at that, basically.
Where did the Coffee Viking come from?
So always appreciated and thought that, you know, Norse mythology was cool, you know, hearing the stories and the tales and stuff like that. But I also, you know, as you've seen, I've got a huge blonde beard. I've got long blonde hair, which I can actually blame my fiance on that. She saw a picture one day and she was like, I want to see if you can have hair like that and a beard like that for our wedding. And I'm like, me, you know, hair grows back. I can do whatever I want with it. So I'm like, all right, cool. And it's just taken off. The coffee aspect, I actually co-own a coffee company called Jennings Java with my business partner. We started it back in college. And so the Coffee Viking just kind of manifested itself. And so I threw that on as my Instagram. And it's basically just become this whole thing that people that know me, once again, how they know me, that's what they know me as. So anybody that just knows me from Instagram, a lot of people just refer to me as, oh, it's the Coffee Viking, you know, and we get to talking and things like that. I actually just got back from a wedding of one of my former college baseball teammates, and his uncle hit him up out of nowhere and goes, how do you know the Coffee Viking? And so it's funny to see worlds collide like that from time to time.
That is funny, man. What's your favorite like in the woods camping way to make coffee?
Daggone it. I've got it down here. It must be upstairs. So there is this tool. It's basically a French press, but it's called, and I'll give them a little shout out, I guess, it's called Brew Trek. And it is a stainless steel French press. But the kicker is the top of it has a lip that if you don't have a cup, you can drink straight from the French press. The cool thing is the bottom actually, once you press all your coffee down and you get the liquid out, you can unscrew the bottom and just like tap it lightly on a rock, run it under a river, and it's clean. And so like super rigid. We threw it across our parking lot with coffee in it and then went and picked it up. No leaks, completely fine. So like in the woods, camping, you know, getting out of Dodge, basically, that specific French press is an easy go-to for me.
Have you ever tried an AeroPress?
Oh, we actually have two of those, but normally that one stays in. We have one at the shop for demonstrations, and then my business partner who does, we're both a little crazy, but he does winter surfing up on the Great Lakes, and he normally takes the AeroPress with him up there, especially for people that fly a lot because it's all plastic material. it is genius to take. You can slide it down into one of your shoes, and whether you're on a plane or on a road trip, it doesn't take up any space. Super easy to clean up as well. Yeah, man. And camping wise, if I didn't use this Brew Trek, I would use an AeroPress, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's my go. It's actually become like my daily driver. That's what I make my daily coffee in. But it started off looking for a lightweight backcountry, throw in my pack type option, because I told myself, like, no matter what, don't matter if I'm 12 miles in or whatever, I'm not going to have instant coffee. I'm not going to have pour coffee. And so
mad respect to you for that.
So I started looking and, wanted to find a good brewing method. And I remember after I got the AeroPress, I took it and we were in Idaho and we were there for like 8 days. And I came home and I was telling somebody, I don't remember the question that was asked, but pretty much I said, yeah, I can make coffee 10 miles in the backcountry better than your coffee shop can make it. I promise.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just turned into my daily driver. And so, I was curious to ask you that.
Yeah, man. And, to your point, when you're hiking in 10 miles, especially for the Western hunters, when you're hiking in, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles, you're not going to carry a, 12 pack of monsters in with you. But being able to take something like an AeroPress where honestly, the coffee you're packing in is probably going to weigh more than the AeroPress itself. I mean, it is a lifesaver and a game changer for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we get any further into this, give us an introduction to yourself as far as your relationship with Bear and Trophy Ridge. Because when people really figure out who you are, you're the guy that everybody hates. They don't know that they hate you. Because you got the grand prize. So you're the guy that everybody's jealous of and mad at, and they don't even know why they're mad at you.
Yeah. No. So, I mean, the backstory, and do you want me to dive into the story itself or just strictly stick with, Bear Trophy?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Tell me the story, man.
All right. So the backstory is I'm fortunate to keep a lot of really, really good people in my corner. One of those is Jesse Swope, who we went and shot Total Archery Challenge in 2020 in Michigan with some buddies. And that just turned into a whole thing. That is our bro trip. Unfortunately, our friends weren't able to come to Pennsylvania last year, but Swope and I, we were like, nope, we're going. This is our thing. This is what we're doing. Had a blast. Super, super well done event. But we get to the novelty shots. And initially we were hyping it up. We were going to shoot at the 111-yard caribou. But there was an African safari hunt shoot. And I'm an opportunity cost guy. This African safari one was 47 yards, and you only had to touch the line of the 12 ring, and it was $5 a shot, whereas the truck shot was $15. So me, in my head, I'm like, oh, I get 3 shots at this, and it's closer compared to the other one. So my buddy Swope shot at the caribou, and then he came over to me and was like, dude, you got to come shoot this. I'm like, no, kind of brushed him off. He came back over. He said, no, you have to shoot this because I already bought your ticket. So Jesse Swope bought my ticket for me. And we go over there, and that's where I met a guy named Rob, he kind of does a little bit of everything with Total Archery Challenge. I don't know what his actual terminology is, but he's a great dude. And so he's on the binos. I draw back, I've kind of got it gauged. I had shot well previously during the course. And so I let it fly, and he pulls off the binos and gives me this deer in headlights look and just goes, dude, it's close. And I'm like, he's like, do you want to see it? And I'm like, nope, we're going to let the powers that be, and we're going to see it when we get up there. Swope goes up to the binos, and he looks through it, and he's deer in headlights to me and goes, dude, you got to come look at this. And I'm like, no. We're going to let it be. We're going to let everybody else shoot that's shooting it, and we're going to find out when we get up and look at it. So talk about the longest 111 yards of your life, aside from the fact that it was uphill. We get up there, dude, and we're looking at it, and Rob kind of dives into it basically and is like, dude, this counts. I still remember it was almost like if you're looking at a clock, it was almost like at a 5 o'clock on it, and it happened to be in. And from then on, we were just kind of living up that high, thinking good thoughts. I'm a big visualization, manifest it kind of person. So went and took some pictures and some video that I still have on my phone all around the truck. And then we just enjoyed it from there. So fast forward to when the truck is being drawn, they wrote everybody's name down, backed their guy up to 100 yards and said, okay, go ahead and shoot at it. And who's ever name that arrow pierced ended up winning it. Well, he missed the first one, and then he hit my name on the second one. At this same time, I'm getting out of a concert without cell service. So I take my phone off airplane mode and I'm getting blown up. And my brother finally calls me before I can look at everything. He goes, dude, what are you doing? And I go, man, I just got out of a concert with my fiance, you know, and he goes, dude, you won the truck. And it was on an island. So we're taking the ferry back. And these people had to think that I was on hard drugs, because I just like, I dropped down. I'm on the phone. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, dude, hang up with me, get on Instagram and look at it. So I do that. And as soon as I see it, immediately my phone calls in order were my buddy Swope, because dude, without him, I'm telling you this, you will not find a better individual than Jesse Swope. So I called him, I thanked him. I'm like, dude, any trips that this truck goes on, it's you and me doing it, and that's how it's going to be. Then I called my cousin Bryce, who is the one that actually got me into hunting, and just thanked him for, you know, the years of taking me under his wing. Then finally called my brother back, and all of that happened. So fast forward again to going and picking up the truck from Bear Archery in Indiana. Very first thought walking into the place was, holy smokes, this is a museum. This is a museum of modern archery. This is crazy, you know, bear, moose, caribou, photos of Fred Bear, you know, doing the world's hardest hunts today, back with 100 pounds of gear on his back. And it just like seeing all of that, and it was all encompassing. Everyone at headquarters was incredible. Can't say enough good things about the people of Bear Archery and Trophy Ridge. But so we get done, and we were actually surprised. Bear Archery actually gifted both myself and Swope a new bow. And you know, from a respect factor, I was like, this is what I'm hunting with this season. And I'm gonna get some animals on the ground with it, and we're gonna go from there. So I've always kind of wanted to do something in the outdoor industry, just didn't know what it was. I mean, I don't even have a YouTube channel or know how any of that works, but I was like, there's an opportunity here and I don't want to miss it. So since then, or from that point, Jesse Swope and I, we had decided that the maiden voyage of this truck was going to be chasing Maryland Sika deer in the Blackwater and the swamp and the sludge. And so we ended up doing that. I was fortunate enough actually on night one to take a pretty good stag. And so we got all the pictures, all that good stuff. And then, you know, talking periodically with Bear, with Trophy Ridge and things like that, I was like, you know, I wonder if we can do something more with this. And so ended up taking a pretty good size 9-point from Ohio, which is where I live. And one thing led to another. And now I shoot for Bear Archery and Trophy Ridge. And so far, I cannot say enough good things about the team and everyone there. Everyone has been so nice. You know, talking with people. I wasn't sure what site I wanted to go with this year. So I was talking with Andrew, and he basically broke everything down for me. And because I wanted something obviously to shoot tack with, but then also be able to hunt with when the time comes. And from then on, I have now set myself up for this coming year to maximize as much as I can. So for instance, April, going to bow hunt turkeys in Michigan with some buddies. June, we're going to shoot tack in PA again. So anybody listening to this, if you're there, please come say hey. Let's see, September, my brother and I are going to do a video project titled Brothers on the Run, and that's going to be out in Nebraska chasing mule deer, and then still have my Ohio whitetail season as well. And there's a chance that I might go down to Kentucky to chase velvet whitetails, which is just a huge dream of mine.
That's awesome, man. Let me just say this. Congratulations. Although I was a little mad. I mean, I didn't even shoot this shot and I was still mad. Up until this point, so I was in Texas with Alec on a hunt. I think that like the day that he got to see the truck, or maybe like the day, I don't remember. But I remember we were in Texas on a hunt and he was like, "Oh, snap, dude, it's done." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he just shows me his phone of this truck and I'm like, "Good Lord." It was the baddest truck I'd ever seen.
Dude, this thing
from that
is
moment on,
slick.
Well, I kept asking him, like, dude, what does it take? Like, how do I buy one? How do I get one? What do I do? And I was even having a custom camper built, and I'm like, man, I want that camper wrapped. It was going to be wrapped for Hunting 101. And I'm like, dude, I want it in Fredbear camo. And he's like, you can't do it. Sorry. And I'm like, God, I hate you. But no, a beautiful truck. And so I was incredibly jealous of you, I might say. But at the same time, man, I will say this. I've talked to a couple guys at Bear, and the problem is a lot of times somebody wins something and they get something and there's no real appreciation there. I remember I was taking somebody, we did a giveaway for a hunt, not this last one that we did for the Axis deer in Texas, because that dude was incredibly grateful, but we did a giveaway for a bear hunt in Maine, and you were going to get free camo from ScentLock, a free bow, free Cabela's gift cards to help you get outfitted to get there, and all this cool stuff. And I called this guy and I'm like, dude, you just won this trip. We're going to go chase bears together in Maine and blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, oh, another bear hunt. Cool. And I'm like, for real? I was hoping for a little more. And I've talked to several guys at Bear, and it's been incredibly exciting to watch the way that you've taken this truck and watch the way that you have morphed into a Bear Archery guy. A lot of guys could have taken that truck and been like, "Oh, cool, I'll sell the bow and I'll get rid of the truck." I mean, I'm a Hoyt guy or Matthews guy or whatever. But you found true appreciation for what Bear did. You found true appreciation for the truck. You've represented it in an incredible way. And so, from myself, man, thank you for representing that truck the way that it should be,
dude. So that right there means the world to me, because of the fact that when I got this truck, I wanted to make sure that everybody understood it was going to someone that was going to use it as intended, and it was going to someone that is going to be super, super appreciative of it. So, for instance, I'm tagging Bear Archery and Total Archery Challenge any chance I get. I'm directing people to it. Swope and I were going to Total Archery Challenge again. Last year it was just us. This year we're actually taking 4 of our buddies, and all 4 are newcomers. And I want to spread the positivity, and I don't want anything to get taken for granted. So, for instance, and this I guess is the first public announcement of it, but I haven't figured out when yet. But so I just got the Refine. My redemption is now going to go to my fiance so she can get into archery with me. And I already got it cleared and everything. I'm actually going to give away my Matthews VXR because of the fact that Bear Archery was so generous and gave me, those bows as being, the winner and stuff like that. I see it as it would be wrong of me to turn around and sell a bow, take somebody's money, even though the only reason I have a new bow is because it was gifted to me. And so if and when that time comes, I'm going to set it up in a way that is similar to kind of like mine and Swope's relationship, where you have to tag your buddy and give a reason why you think he deserves the bow. And I'm hoping it'll present, people like, oh, my buddy, had to get rid of it because he had a house fire and had to pay bills. And I want it to, similar to me with the truck, I wouldn't have any sort of rig like this had I not won it. And that never leaves my mind. And so I want to be able to give back as well. So I want this bow to go to someone that I know is going to use it, I know is going to shoot it, and I know is going to hunt with it. And so, I will never forget the generosity that's been shown to me. And I want to spread that back to other people.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on, let me give a quick thank you to my friends single friend at Nick's Knife Works. I am a sucker for beautifully crafted hand forged knives. It was instilled into me at a young age. My dad is a knife fanatic. So much so that one time, get this, AJ, one time my dad was sharpening a knife, gets the blade just as slick as could be. He was a young guy. I wasn't in the picture, obviously. And he drops the knife like right after sharpening it. And so in his mind, he's like, I would rather stab this through my foot than chip my brand new sharpened knife. So he stuck his foot out.
He didn't.
So he stuck his foot out. It went through his boot. I don't think it went like through his foot, but like, cut his foot. And but at least he didn't dull his knife, right? So that was the kind of love for knives that was instilled into me. I met a friend right here out of my good hometown. Well, he's in Wichita, but in my area, Nick's Knife Works. He makes beautiful hand forged knives. I would highly encourage you to go check him out on social media, on Instagram at Nick's Knife Works, because everybody needs a good hand forged, sharp, well built knife in their pack. So go check out Nick's Knife Works.
Dude, I'm actually in the market for a new knife, so I'm actually
there. You go.
My phone right now. I'm getting on Instagram, give him a follow, talk to him later.
He'll build it exactly how you want it. That's the beautiful part. I gave him I want it on the side of my bino harness, so I want the clip upside down so I can grab it with my right hand. I mean, he built it exactly how I wanted it. He'll do the same for you. He'll do the same for everybody. AJ, I'm curious to know, and I did hear at one point, Alec did tell me at one point, he was like, there was only X amount of people who made it, who were, who hit the shot or whatever. Do you recall how many people were in the running for it?
So this is how crazy my mind works. So I took the video. It was on Instagram. I took the video. When they made the shot and went to look at the name, there's a moment, because they had all the names flipped over, but there's a moment that they're holding it and you can see the size of the names. And I basically took that, counted, because there was 2 columns on each piece of paper, and then there was 4 sheets of paper. And I kind of did a rough estimate, rough math guess. And what I came out to was there was somewhere between 80 to 110 names. Now, granted, there's some people that were able to hit multiple times. I remember being at the Michigan shoot in 2020 when Chris B won it, and we actually got to watch him shoot. And I mean, I think he had 5 entries that year. So I know there was multiple people with multiple entries on it, but best guess is 80 to 110 names.
That's pretty close, because I remember hearing the number and thinking Lord, that's, you got a good chance of winning a brand new truck. And so that's pretty close. But what I liked about you, the first thing you said to me at ATA, you said, I'm a living testament that all it takes is one shot. And I can't imagine how many guys walked by and they're like, I'm not going to hit it. Or I don't want to spend $100 to have X amount of shots.
Right.
And I love that you said that. So what would you say to the guy? Cause we have, if you haven't seen it yet, a bad to the bone trophy ridge truck.
Oh dude, it is slick, man.
That I like just as much as the Bear truck. It looks incredible. I love it. So what would you say to the guy who walks by, sees the Trophy Ridge truck, and they're like, I can't do it.
Dude, oh man, if I can only say one thing to them, I mean, the easy answer there would be it just takes one. But in a broader sense, in a life sense, you're 100% never going to have a chance if you never take the shot, and that goes way deeper than Total Archery Challenge. That's, a new job. That's, proposing to the girl that you like. That's, do I want to spend the money and take this bucket list trip of a lifetime? Things like that. The answer, do I want to ask for a promotion? The answer is always no if you never take the shot. And so that's something that I would tell them is, well, obviously you're not going to win it if you don't at least shoot once. But there's that chance, if you've been dialed throughout the day, that $15 ends up winning you a once in a lifetime truck. And then I've done as much as I can to try to open and walk through the doors that have been opened to me from winning this truck, and I want to take full advantage, not take advantage in a bad sense, but I want to take full advantage of the opportunities that are being opened and then work my butt off for them. And dude, I tell my fiance all the time, if someone reaches out or, someone quote unquote famous follows me or anything like that, and I'm like, I'm just a dude from Ohio. Like I'm just a Southern Ohio bow hunter, man. I'm not anything crazy special. I don't have exceptional eyesight or anything like that, but it just takes one shot.
Yeah. And man, I love that you use it as an inspirational form. It's not like, oh, look at my truck, I won. Or look how good I shot at 111 yards. It's inspiring people further. And I wish somebody, man, I'll tell you what, it was 2 years ago when I went full time in the hunting industry, and that was mind-blowingly scary. To step away from a very secure, very safe job, great benefits, great retirement, to step away from that job that most people don't find at age 23 or however old I was when I found it. To leave that job and to step into the outdoor industry was incredibly scary. But I told my wife, just like you just said, I have to take the chance. Like,
you gotta jump.
This is my dream. Like, I've got to do it. And so I'm so glad I did. And so I would just encourage everybody out there, like AJ said, whatever it is in life, like even if it's not hunting, and this podcast, I've always said this podcast is to teach and inspire. So maybe this is the inspirational piece of it. But whatever it is in life that you're contemplating or that you haven't really dove into yet, take the chance, like take the leap. Because like AJ, it could literally be life-changing for you. Or like myself, it could literally be life-changing for you. So try it. Speaking of tack, we've got just a couple weeks out, we've got Beaver Bend, Oklahoma, April 1st through the 3rd. I will be there all weekend long hanging out. I have already told a couple of my friends that I will launch an arrow with my recurve at the 111 target, just for funsies. And if I drill it, which I won't, then
now you got the wrong mentality.
Hey, listen, with a recurve, dude, I don't even care. Like if I get within 10 yards of the target, I would be stoked. Because I can't hit a 12 ring at 50 yards, much less 111 yards. But it'll be fun. No, I'm excited. I asked that you would, if you're going to be there, stop by the Bear Archery booth, say hi, let's hang out. Let's swap hunting stories. I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see some people shoot the target. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to, hopefully I get to see the winner shoot. Like that would be cool. You know what I mean? To see somebody shoot, hit it, and then they win it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll add something to that, which is anybody listening to this podcast that hasn't shot tack or doesn't know what to expect or anything like that, man, I will tell you, it is the single best collective of archers that you could find. Yes, TAC does give you a scorecard, but I can promise you by the third shot, that scorecard is going to be buried in your backpack because you're going to be laughing, joshing, joking, having a good time with the buddies. No one, I could be wrong, but in my view, no one really cares about score. It's all about just like having a good time. You get some exercise in, hiking up and down the mountain. You get to shoot targets. And then, when you're going down and talking to everybody in the industry, at the booths, at the bar or restaurant or whatever, it's just like you can feel it. There's a wholesomeness to the entire show, basically. And so, I would urge everyone, even if you can only go and shoot for a day, like it is totally worth it.
Yeah. I hope to get to shoot, although I will be busy most of the time. I will be at some of the Mountain Archery Fest events as well, and which I've been oh Lord, I've probably been to I've been to a lot of them, and I got to go to a lot of them this year, but I've never shot, and that's been my biggest, like, I don't want to say mistake, my biggest regret. And so I will take time to shoot a couple courses this year, because you hear guys rave about it. You hear guys talk about how it's just so therapeutic and so much fun and so much, good practice. And so I will try this year to make time and shoot for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a blast. And, whether it's the Mountain Archery Fest or Total Archery Challenge or whatever, you hit the nail on the head. Therapeutic is the perfect word for it.
Now, I find I find that therapy every day. And my goal behind telling people this is to not make people jealous and say, well, yeah, if I got to shoot, if I didn't have to go to work and whatever, have a 9 to 5, that's not my point behind telling you guys this. But I built my backyard. I've got 9 3D targets in my backyard. I built a shooting platform that I can climb up and shoot like it's from a tree stand. And I understand if I know everybody can't set that up. But what I did is for 3 years, every year I would get on Delta McKenzie and I would order a couple new targets. And then 3 years down the road, I've got 9. And so that's just what I do every morning, is go outside, climb up on the shooting platform like I'm shooting from my tree stand, and I shoot all these targets, and I just have that time. Now, I want to encourage you, though, because archery and because shooting is therapeutic, I want to encourage you, even if you can't have a 3D course in your backyard, just get a target and shoot every day. Even if I tell people this, even if you get to shoot one arrow every day, that takes seconds. It takes 2 minutes to go in your room, grab your bow, walk outside and shoot an arrow. But it's still that time to just not worry about anything else other than shooting your bow.
Yep.
So I'm a huge proponent of shooting every day. And people always get, I don't want to say mad, but defensive about why they can't shoot every day. Well, don't scroll on Instagram for 4 hours and you can probably shoot your bow.
Dude, I finally convinced, to your point, I finally convinced my fiance to let me throw a target down in our basement. And I mean, it's my buddy Slope, his distance, he has it set at the bottom of his stairs. It's 15 yards. I'm able to stretch it to 20 yards in my basement. But I mean, I've got a Morel yellow jacket target, which I think are like $65. almost all of my snowboarding gear except for the bare minimum stuff. You know, and I've saved up, and dude, there's ways to make trips happen, man. You know, for instance, my buddy and I, or Swope and I, when we went and chased the Sika deer in Maryland, we found a campsite that was $25 a night. We found, I think it was like $70 total. Maybe it wasn't $25. It was like $70 total for the weekend. The tags and fees and license in Maryland, I want to say was a total of like $170. And then if you want a peanut butter and jelly and ramen it the entire time, you're able to go on a super cool hunt for like $250.
Yeah. No,
Like,
there's
I mean-
opportunities. There's opportunities for sure. And that's one of my biggest advocacies for Bear Archery is you can buy. So at ATA, I shot the Bear Alaskan for the first time and was absolutely blown away.
I had a good time with that one.
I actually kind of regretted choosing the Refine over the Alaskan, not going to lie. And I thought to myself, I'm like, dude, this is a $500 bow, $539 bow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if people would quit spending $2,000 on bows and spend $500, that gives you $1,500 to go on an awesome hunt.
Dude, so with tying into what you're saying, that is another reason why I'm so thankful to be a part of Bear Archery, is because you know, I do things in a couple of different industries that are not hunting or outdoor focused at all. So I've kind of turned my Instagram into, and you can see it in my bio, a middleman kind of account. So that I've had vegans over at my house that we're super close friends. We come downstairs, and not, you know, I'm not downplaying them, but they just didn't know that like deer lose their horns every day. But that was a teaching moment. And if I can teach someone, you know, about archery and they take an interest and stuff like that, tying everything back in, Bear Archery is the single best brand for every price range bow. If you need to get it, if you just need something to get into it, you can. If you want that pile driving, tack driver, you know, top echelon bow, Bear Archery has that. And there's everything in between, including ready to hunt packages, which I don't see offered by a whole lot of other brands.
You know what's I don't want to say sad. You know what's exciting though is I truly believe, and you can say whatever you want, but I truly believe that Bear Alaskan can shoot with any flagship bow anybody has to offer. It's a phenomenal shooting bow. And again, it's for $530. I could be a little off, but $530. It's insane, dude. And all of these, I get asked, that's the most question I get asked is who makes the best bow, or what's the best bear bow, or what bow should I buy?
It depends on what your needs are.
Yeah, that type of question is what I get. And I tell everyone the same thing. Everyone makes great bows now. You're not going to go to somebody and buy a bad bow. However, you're going to spend a whole lot more for it at other places. You can save yourself $1,500 and get an Alaskan. You can shoot. I mean, again, it's all about looking at something and asking yourself, what do you want to get out of it? What can I put into this to get out in return? You know, but I got my wife a legit, which is like you said, one of the ready to hunt packages for like $300, and that thing shoots great. I would take it as a backup bow any time. It shoots phenomenal. She shot 2 deer with it this year, and it's a fantastic shooting little rig. You know, but I also say that is my favorite thing about Bear Archery is when the new catalog comes out and I open it up, I'm like, oh, there's a new compound for me. Oh, there's a new recurve for me. Oh, there's a new crossbow for my dad. Oh, there's a new compound for my wife. Oh, they come out with a new little kid bow for my 4-year-old. Oh, they have this for my it's a whole family ordeal, and Bear Archery makes it a family ordeal.
Dude, I mean, I'm looking at their website on my phone right now, at Bear Archery's website right now. And another one that we've actually kind of overlooked in terms of the ready to hunt packages is the well, let me see here. The Whitetail Legend. you know, the the hunting public guys and things like that. And I mean, you can get that for $500, and the resurgence ready to hunt. There's a paradox, there is something for everyone, like you said.
Archery should be and could be a family ordeal. And Bear Archery really helps make that possible for families to make it affordable and make it obtainable for all ages, all sizes, shapes. And that's what I absolutely love about them. You talked about your sight and how you were trying to decide what sight to go with. Now, before we dive into what sight you chose and why, quick thank you to our friends over at Boning. Boning makes all of the components that you need to build your arrows, all of the tools that you need to build your arrows with, all the jigs, all the clamps, everything you could ever imagine to build your arrows, all the glues, waxes, melts, everything. They also have some incredible Fredbear branded products with their Fredbear flannel wraps, their Fredbear camo wraps to match your truck. And my personal favorite setup is a 4-fletch with a 3-inch Bronco vane. But no matter what you like, whether it's blazers or whether it's heat vanes, they have something for everyone, and they have some incredible Fredbear branded products. So go check out our friends over at Boning. Do you have Fredbear camo wraps yet?
So here's the thing, okay? My eyesight ain't what it used to be. And so I try to keep my back end of my stuff as white as possible so that way, when I'm able to make that pass through shot, I'm always trying to think about, the shot and what happens after. So like, for instance, I don't know if you can see this, but I actually went with the heat vanes. I 4-fletched them. And so I'm going to run that. It's got a 2-degree to the right helical on it. And so I'm running that for this coming year, but it's all white. And so the idea behind that for me is, hopefully a good pass through, and I'm able to look at those vanes and say, yeah, oh dude, that looks slick. The green with the black. I like that.
And it's the 4-fletch heat.
And you've got the Fredbear camo. Oh, dude, that looks clean. Maybe I'll do the wrap in Fredbear and just keep the white. I might end up doing that because, dude, the Fredbear camo is just a timeless classic. I mean, the redemption I had was all Fredbear. I went with the Refine that was black with the Fredbear limbs, and it is just so clean. But no, arrow wise, I try to keep that back end as white as possible to help me figure out where the shot went through at, basically.
Right. Sight setup. You mentioned talking with Andrew, who was just recently on to talk about the new digital React. What sight did you end up going with?
Dude, so that I had a tough time deciding. That digital React is super, super clean. I think anyone, especially anyone that might have a little more trouble seeing low light situations, having that knob with the number right in front of your face, I think that is a genius tool. I actually was deciding between the React. I opted to not do the digital. I was trying to decide between the React 1 Pro and the React Trio. And what I ended up deciding, because I'll give you the background. I had a black gold slider. I had a Spot Hog Fast Eddy double pin. I like having the double or triple pin aspect to it. And so I ended up going with the React Trio Pro. And I'm trying to basically stretch it as much as possible so that way I can hit those 120, 111 yard shots while still maintaining my shot option for hunting and things like that. I've got some tinkering I'm going to do with it. I might actually pull a pin and run it as a double pin. But that's, down the line, I've got to figure that out. But yeah, so that was kind of the whole thought process of going with the React Trio Pro. The short version is I think I can shoot tack with it, and I think I can hunt with it. And I like that aspect.
Oh yeah, it is. I've shot that sight now for 4 years, It's the best sight I've ever found, and I don't just mean from Trophy Ridge. I have for about 9 years been a multi-pin slider, and I tried every single one of them before I landed on Trophy Ridge. And I was working at a bow shop in Oklahoma City throughout college, and so that gave me the added benefit of not having to purchase all of these sights. So I would just run out to the range. I would screw on, sight A and shoot it for a day, screw on sight B and shoot it for a day. I'd find one I like, I'd shoot it for a week. I'd find one I really like, I'd shoot it for 2 weeks. And I had 2 left. I had the Trophy Ridge and another sight. Put on the Trophy Ridge, really liked it, shot it for 2 weeks. And I didn't want to take it off my bow. I liked everything about the sight. Well, every other sight that I had shot, I had found things I didn't like. I get to that sight, and it had fixed all of the things I didn't like about the others, and it's added some things I really enjoyed. I didn't want to take it off, but I told myself I have to try them all. So I took it off. I put the last one on. Thank God I didn't like it at all. So it was like a 2-day. It was a super cheap option. Obviously, I'm not going to drop any names, but it was a super cheap option, and I didn't like it at all. It felt like junk. Took it off, threw the Trophy Ridge back on, and so I guess the React Trio is 4 years old, but I've shot a multi-pin slider from Trophy Ridge for about 7 years now, and just fallen in love with them.
Well, I'll tell you this too, not to cut you off, but to add to it, I thought I had it dialed. I went and shot an indoor 3D just back here in Ohio, and we stretched it out to like 47 yards. Anything like 37 and back, I was consistently hitting high. And man, popped out my pocket Allen key set, went to the top of the sight, just kind of did almost like a 1/32 or a 1/16 back out, basically spot on, dialed, ready to go. And it took me longer to get my Allen wrench out than it did to actually make the adjustment.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the beautiful benefits of it. And that was one of the things that I didn't like about it, about some of the other ones, is if you want to change something, you've got to go into Archer's Advantage, print new sight tapes, take off your sight tapes, put them back on, test them, whatever. Or you have to do, mark point A, point B, and then measure and see what tape you get, which is all fine and dandy if that's what you want to do. But with Trophy Ridge, perfect example. I got the Refine, I think just before November last year. And I had been hunting with a recurve all year, but I really wanted to try to shoot a deer with my Refine. This is the new compound, really wanted to go out and shoot it. And so I think it was a Thursday night. I spent like 25 minutes sighting it in, was sighted out to 100, and I'm like, cool. Went out and hunted with it the next morning and shot a beautiful Kansas whitetail. And it was sighted in to 100 yards in 25 minutes. Just insane.
Dude, that's the thing people don't realize. Like, I overanalyze everything.
Oh my gosh, me too.
And so, like, normally, right, and with my previous sites that I mentioned, I would be on a site. I would have my my tester sight tape to let me know, pick tape 23. I would get it dialed on day one. And let's just say, between 23, 24, and 25 in terms of the numbers of tape. It would take me a week after that to try to figure out, like, which one, I'd shoot 24 good one day, and then I'd shoot 23 good the next day. And it was just like, it would take me a week. And I had this Trophy Ridge sight dialed in a day and a half, 2 days, and almost in disbelief to myself, like, did I do something wrong? Did I mess something up? Did I miss something? Because it took so much less time to get ready to go.
No, I'm the same way, man. I am especially with my recurve, I'm an anal tuner. Like, it'll take me 2 weeks to tune a bow, just because if it's the slightest bit knock left at 35 yards, I'm like, oh, I gotta go back to the drawing board. I mean, it's insane. And I understand that it's all in my head. And so here's what I want to do. AJ, I ask everybody, what's one field note you have for me to make people a better hunter? And I don't always share one. But I want to share one while you think of yours.
Okay, yeah.
If it works, just shoot it. Like, quit putting so much effort into being able to shoot an aspirin when a deer's kill zone is a paper plate. If a bow is shooting well, just shoot it. And it really doesn't matter what the tune charts say. It really doesn't matter what everybody on the forum say. Perfect example is this. I was having trouble tuning my Kodiak Hunter, and I was getting I had to raise the knock so high up to get good arrow flight, and everybody on the forums was like, don't go above 3/4 of an inch or whatever. And so I was above that, and I was racking my brain trying to get it low, trying to change arrow spines, trying to do all this stuff. And then finally I was like, you know what? I know I can put it on an inch and shoot bullet holes. And so I did it, and I went out and shot, and now I'm enjoying shooting my bow. So if whatever your bow likes, just do it. Don't worry about, well, their bow likes this, or they say this arrow shouldn't fly good out of this, or they say a 4-fletch heat vein won't fly good out of a whisker biscuit. Well, it does. So who cares what you think? If your bow likes it, just shoot it and quit worrying about it and enjoy archery.
Yeah, no, dude, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, that is a great piece of advice for people, because I've been a part of a couple of different Facebook groups, and everybody's been there, right? You get on and you assume everybody on there is, cool in a sense. And I was that guy. I took the video facing sideways of me shooting, and I'm like, hey guys, how's my form look? And just got ripped apart. But what they didn't see was that I could still remember. I was using a Matthews Switchback XT when I did it. And I can still remember it was a 35-yard shot, and it was a dead ringer. But all of these people in this forum were like, draw length's too long. You're not, the string is not crossing the corner in the nose, and you're dropping too early, and you're twerking it and stuff like that. And I'm like, but I just shot a bullseye. And so, no, I totally get where you're coming from with that, man. Shoot, I guess now. So my turn, right?
Yeah. Now, I will say this. There's something to be said about good form. There's something to be said about correctly spined arrows. There's something to be said about there's something to be said about that. So take advice and use it and become better. But I remember I was calling Three Rivers, and I'm like, you've got to help me through this, because this isn't working on this shot, and this isn't working on this bow, and this should tune perfect. And the guy on the phone said, listen, I shoot, and he walked me through a setup, and he said, and I shoot a 600 spine arrow. And I was like, what? And he's like, I know, shouldn't work, but it does. And he's like, that's just what that bow likes, and I have to accept that. And I was like, bingo. Like, okay, sorry, that I wasted your time. But I learned a valuable lesson there. Is just whatever your bow likes, whatever arrows, whatever broadhead, whatever spot, whatever knock height or brace height your bow likes, run with it and quit worrying so much about, and please understand what I'm saying. I spend so much time tuning bows. I'm not saying we don't have to tune our bows. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there comes a point where you just have to accept that's good enough. I'm going to go out and shoot.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. You could drive yourself crazy trying to think of every little thing and do every little thing. Shoot. Well, and I've mentioned this on Instagram before. My biggest thing is you and I both understand this. There are some sectors of this industry that are super, super competitive, don't talk to each other, don't, almost like rude to each other, because everyone's like battling head to head and stuff like that. But my biggest thing is be a sponge to those doing what you want to do. Okay. For instance, I follow a guy by the name of Jake Bush. because he is a early season killer, man. And I give it's two-part, be a sponge, but also give props, the mobile setup behind me, right? I built that mobile setup based off of things that Jake Bush, Jacob Lishan, and Cody DeQuisto did. And I give those guys props to it because, you can't expect to just go out and do everything on your own. You have to see what others are doing that you want to be doing. If your goal is to shoot only 200-inch whitetails, you need to follow those people and see what they're doing, what tips and tricks they're doing to be able to do something like that. If your goal is to grow world-class whitetails, you should be following the Lakoskis. You should be following the Drury Outdoors. If your goal is to be as lethal as possible, you should be following our buddy Shane, the Bone Maniac, and go from there. And I'm sick of people trying to act like we can't get along in this space. We're hunters, we're outdoorsmen, we're conservationists first and foremost, and we are a dying breed. I think I see a resurgence coming, but we've got to be able to do it together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Don't knock somebody because of how they do something, because that person might turn around in 2 weeks and go kill a 180-inch whitetail. Take everything in, listen to the podcasts. If your goal is to strictly hunt public land, follow the hunting public, follow Jake Bush. If you are keying in on mountain bucks and, hilly territory and things like that, find someone who has specialized in that and take notes from what they're doing. We can all be learning from each other. I will never, ever claim to know everything about the industry or anything like that, man. I've been hunting for, what is it now? I'm 27. I've been hunting for 11 years. And I think I've learned more this past year than I have in previous years. And it's just like, just always be a sponge, always be open to someone else's idea of how they hunt.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm the biggest proponent of finding mentors, finding coaches, finding people to gather information from. It's been an absolute honor. And that was the purpose behind this podcast, was to give a place of learning, was to give a place of, not just telling hunting stories and making people think that, oh, these guys on the show, they're big bad hunters. But my goal behind the show was to teach and inspire new hunters, or hunters looking to get into something else. And so that's what this podcast, I've always wanted it to be, as a place. I'm fully open. Like, if people call me, you can message me on Instagram, you can send me an email. And I want to be able to answer any and all questions. And it's been an honor, man. I got an email just this year from a guy, and he's like, dude, I started hunting thanks to your podcast, and here's my first doe. And I'm like, holy cow. Like, that
Dude,
was
I got chills, man.
was my dream.
That's awesome. That's why we do this.
Oh my. And then he sent me another picture later on and was like, got a bigger one now. And I'm like, man, I posted on my old Instagram. Everybody on here knows that I was hacked, but I need to make a post again about that guy and his journey into hunting. And it was just, I remember I was at my folks' house in Arkansas when I got the email, and my parents were like, my dad was like, what's up, dude? Cause like, I became emotional. Like, he was like, what's up, dude? And I'm like, dude, you got to read this email. And it was like a book about, why he got into hunting, and thank you for this and thank you for that. And I'm like, I've never met the guy. Like, I don't even know who the guy is. He heard my email address on a show one time and sent me this, and I was blown away and humbled. So I say all that to say this: be willing to soak in information from other people, but also be willing to give information to other people. Quit holding on to all the information. Quit holding on to everything you've learned. Quit holding on to how to tune a bow. Quit holding on to, what all of these things, and start sharing it, because that is the best thing, I promise you, that in your hunting career you will ever do.
Yeah, man. I agree 100%. And I would almost say that the people doing it for the right reason. Actually, I know for me personally, the people doing it for the right reason want to see you succeed as badly as they want to succeed, because
100%.
dude, there's no shortage of deer. There's no shortage of does. There's no shortage of bucks. Now, depending on what caliber you want to go after, sure, I get that. But, for instance, and I've referenced him a couple times, but my buddy Jake, who looked up to him, I met him, we've stayed in touch. He just took his girl out on her first hunt, and she smoked a brute of a buck. And he texted me and was like, dude, this is almost better than me actually killing one for myself. Seeing her reaction, seeing new people get into it, like, that's why we do this, And yeah, man, I've always been a big proponent, regardless of the industry. There is no shortage of success, but you do have to work for it.
Yeah, I was out hunting this year, and I had a cameraman with me, and my wife was out hunting as well. She was at her folks' house, and she was hunting, and she texted me. She this would be her first whitetail, so she texted me, and she said, "I shot," and I'm like, "What?" Like, I'm freaking out.
Yeah, like, what happened?
And she said the only thing else she said was a doe, and I'm like, I look up at the cameraman, and he was like, "What? Where?" Like, he thought I saw a big buck coming out by the look on my face. He's like, "What? Where?" And I'm like, "Dude, Chrissy just shot a doe. We gotta go." And he's like, "Dude, it's prime time." And I'm like, "Don't care. Got a bolt, dude."
Yeah.
And so, oh my gosh, I was so excited, man. And but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's more meaningful to see somebody that you've invested in harvest an animal, and especially in that situation where I didn't even know I had taught this guy anything. I didn't even know that I had given him that kind of information, and it was incredibly humbling for that to happen. So I'm a huge proponent of, not only should you be soaking in information constantly, but you should also be pouring out information for others to soak in constantly.
100%. And I'll even say, if people reach out to me and ask a question, I'll give you my best answer. But if I know that there's more to it, I will tell you exactly what podcast I use. I will tell you exactly who I follow for that specific reason. And like, I'll give you as much information as I can. But if it goes deeper, I'm going to direct you to that person as well.
Exactly. And there was, just on last episode or a couple episodes ago, Warren Holder from Raised Hunting, we were talking about tuning a recurve, and he asked me a question, and I was like, you know what, I don't know, but I know who can answer it. And so we get off, and I don't know if Warren was thinking to himself, like a lot would, that I probably wouldn't get back to him. But immediately we got done recording, I called my friend Tom Klum from Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear. I said, "Hey Tom, I got a question on recording, or I got a question while recording a podcast. I didn't know the answer, but I knew you would." He gave me the answer. I called Warren back, and I'm like, "Hey man, figured it out." And that's when I told him, I'm like, from now on, if you have any deeper questions that I can't answer, here's Tom Klum. He's a recurve coach, a recurve instructor. Here's his phone number, his email. Feel free to reach out, because I want that channel of information to be open to everybody. Absolutely, man. Great tip.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I will live and die by, is be a sponge to those doing what you want to do.
Yeah. Now, before we go, I got to ask you, what are you going to do if you win another truck?
Well, I don't know if I can gift that. I mean, so I have actually already thought about it, right? Because the whole visualization, manifesting things like that. I honestly, if I were to win the truck again, let me first say, this year it will take Swope paying for my ticket again for me to even shoot at it, because like I said, I want to give back. My buddies don't know this, but if they listen to the podcast, they will. I'm going to pay a shot for everyone in my group to shoot. And then I'll probably pay for, I'm taking enough money that I'm going to pay for a couple of random guys to shoot at it as well. Just in the sense of giving back.
That's awesome.
If in a roundabout way I end up shooting and winning the truck again, it will probably go to my buddy Swope, honestly.
I was gonna say, a podcast host that would love it.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we both shoot at the if there's an African safari hunt again, and we'll just go on that.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. No, very cool, man. Where can they find you at on social media?
Yeah, man. So my social media is actually _Coffee Viking, all one word. Or if you want to try to figure out how to spell Kazmierczak, I can't imagine there's too many of those on Instagram either.
Good luck with that, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I can promise you guys, if you go and follow him, you will live your life in jealousy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You'll be jealous of a beard. You'll be jealous of a truck. You'll be jealous of hair. You'll be jealous of all this stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Before we go, one more quick thank you to our friends over at Season Report. Season Report is, in my opinion, the very best thing you could ever spend $10 on. Go to seasonreport.com, use code hunting101, and that's going to make the entire platform just $10 for you. And what Season Report is, on the hunting side of things, it is a online hunting almanac, wallet, whatever you want to call it. You can save your counties that you hunt in by the county. Then all you got to do is click on that county, and it pulls up all of your state rules, regulations, laws, bag limits, everything you need to know about hunting in that county on one easy-to-use, easy-to-understand platform. It gives you a calendar view so you can see all the overlapping different seasons, so you know that if your bow season's overlapping your rifle season, all of those types of things. It is the best thing, in my opinion, you could ever spend $10 on in hunting. They've also added some gardening and foraging things, so you know when things are in season and what you could prepare with what you have. So go check out seasonreport.com. Use code hunting101, and that's going to make it just $10 for you for the entire year. AJ, Coffee Viking, whatever you want to call you, thank you so much for coming on, man. I greatly appreciate it. I love your enthusiasm about Bear Archery. I love your enthusiasm about the truck. I love your giving back mentality. So from the bottom of my heart, man, keep doing what you're doing because it's working.
Dude, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. That means the world to me. Thank you for giving me a platform to talk about this kind of stuff, man. And seriously, I wish you nothing but success in the future.
And guys, I would highly recommend you to check out a Total Archery Challenge event this year. Take the 111 shot. All it takes is one shot. If you're in Oklahoma, stop by April 1st through the 3rd at the Total Archery Challenge. I would love to hang out with you. I'd love to talk hunting with you. We can shoot together. We can have fun together. You can ask me any questions you have. But I'll be hanging out in the booth all weekend long. So come find me in Oklahoma. Guys, thank you for listening. Y'all have a great week. And just get out there and try a Total Archery Challenge this year.